In March of 1978, President Jimmy Carter launched the Humphrey Fellowship Program as a way to not only honor Vice President Humphrey, but also to pass the torch to future generations in a way that would keep his legacy and his values very much alive.
The Hubert H. Humphrey Program is regarded as vital to our diplomatic efforts around the world.
One thing I took away from the Hubert Humphrey Fellowship is that I don't need to have a position to be able to make the change that I want to see. Going back to Nigeria, it's about making me a better servant.
As an executive director for our National Population Council, knowing that population growth rate is an issue in Africa, I am making sure that African leaders know the importance of population in economic development, because it is population and economic development, and we cannot have sustainable development goals if you're not looking at the people, you're not looking at the planet, you're not looking at the environment in a sustainable manner.
What we're trying to do is to boost two mechanisms, the first of which is national health insurance, so that we have to pool funding coming from taxes, coming to people's contribution, so that we can build a solid national health insurance. The second thing is public-private partnership, which is how we can leverage corporate social responsibility to get more resources internally so that we can sustain our health programs.
I had a vision of coming back home to support young women. I set up the Zoom Lion Foundation, and I had three main thematic areas. So one was on environment, the other on education, and the other on health.
This Humphrey year helped me switch my professional career from the private sector to the development sector. And I was able to launch my own consulting firm in my country.
I got involved in program management and have been able to manage effectively programs that impacted millions of lives in Nigeria, in South Sudan, and in Sierra Leone. And the skills to be able to do those were the skills I acquired during the Humphrey Fellowship Program.
I'm very grateful for the Humphrey Fellowship because it gives me confidence to go higher. I worked with the Global Compact for Migration, and it's a framework that's supposed to help governments to manage migration.
Being able to commit, to do three things: build that rehabilitation center for survivors, which I've built throughout the years, training law enforcement. At first I committed to train 1,000, but now I've surpassed, those numbers. And then speaking globally about human trafficking.
For 40 years, you and your predecessors as Humphrey Fellows have built bridges and strengthened understanding between the United States and your home countries. I encourage you to mentor those who come after you. Please reach back and give a helping hand to the next generation of leaders across the continent. Help them to have an impact in their own communities, as you have, and to look for ways to build connections.